All right, now we just interrupt the bulletin as well to just cross over to Abuja in Nigeria, where President Jacob Zuma is addressing the media. Of course, this revolves around his presidential state visit to that country. Let's take a look.
African and Nigeria Binational Commission, since its inception in 1999, as we forge a strategic partnership between the two state nations, we have decided to elevate the Binational Commission to the level of the heads of states. In this way, my brother and I will be able to lead as well as monitor progress in various areas of cooperation. Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our two countries have signed over 30 bilateral agreements and memoranda of understanding. These agreements cover a wide range of cooperation areas, including trade and industry, transport, energy, defense, and security, and immigration, among others. We have directed the relevant ministers to move with speed in implementing all signed agreements. We have also directed our ministers to identify joint projects in the key high-impact strategic development areas, which will have socio-economic benefits such as employment creation to our peoples. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome the increased economic cooperation and trade relations between our two countries over the past decade. Nigeria is South Africa's key trading partner on the continent. Prior to 1999, there were only 4 South African companies in Nigeria. Since 1999, the situation has changed dramatically. Over 120 companies are currently doing business in Nigeria in various sectors, mainly telecommunications, banking, retail, property, entertainment, and hospitality. We welcome this significant development. We also see great potential in boosting tourism between the two countries. According to statistics, South Africa, an average of 4,000 Nigerians traveled to South Africa on a monthly basis in 2015. In order to promote South Africa as a tourist destination in both the vast Nigerian market and in the West African the whole, a tourism office was opened in Lagos in January 2014 by ministers of tourism of both countries. We also encourage South Africans as to tour Nigeria so that we can improve understanding and the appreciation of one another's culture and the way of life. It is important for us to structure our economic cooperation. In this regard, the South Africa-Nigeria Business Forum has been organized, comprising of higher-level business delegations from both countries. We urge our private sector to invest in the respective countries and help create job opportunities and improve the quality of life. From our side as government, we have committed ourselves to create an enabling environment and to ease the manner of doing business in our respective countries. We have also exchanged views on the current regional, political, economic, and security situation. With regard to continental developments, we discussed issues related to peace and security in the continent. We noted with great concern the challenges posed by terrorists and extremist groups that continue to affect some of our countries on the continent, including Nigeria. We condemn in the strongest possible terms all forms of terrorism and extremism. During our discussions, we reiterated the need for joint regional and continental effort towards countering these negative elements. Considering our commitment to finding African solutions to African problems, we have agreed to work together to deal with these challenges. In conclusion, we reiterated our common position on the need to reform the multilateral institutions, including the United Nations Security Council, to better represent the interests of the developing world. I'm truly happy to be in Nigeria on this first state visit. I thank His Excellency, the President, the government, and the people of Nigeria for the warm hospitality given to me and my delegation. Thank you very much indeed.
President Jacob Zuma there addressing the media in Abuja. This was after he met with his counterpart, Nigerian leader Muhammadu Buhari, identifying Nigeria there as a key trading partner on the continent. He spoke about the 30 bilateral agreements that exist between Nigeria and South Africa. He says that ministers have been tasked to identify projects in which both South Africa and Nigeria can jointly cooperate and have mutual benefits as far as the economy is concerned. During that meeting with the President Buhari, he said they also spoke about the dire state of security in some parts of Africa and how they can work together to actually get a tougher stance on security. He also spoke about the fact that the relationship economically between South Africa and Nigeria needs to be structured around the SA Nigeria Business Forum. We'll give you more details on that press briefing and the talks between the two leaders in our later bulletins. For now, let's find out what the weather conditions are like.
It's a very cool day over the interior of South Africa today due to cloudy skies. As you can see on the satellite images here, cloudy skies developing over the interior and moving towards the eastern areas. We do expect some heavy rainfall over KwaZulu-Natal later on today and a possibility of flooding along the coastal areas of the Eastern Cape province. Otherwise, an 80% probability of rainfall over the Gauteng province, KwaZulu-Natal and some areas towards the Mpumalanga province. And more rainfall is still forecast for these areas tomorrow over the northern parts of South Africa, possibly causing flash flooding in the Gauteng province and towards the Mpumalanga province. Clear skies, though, can be expected in the western parts of South Africa tomorrow. Temperatures are very mild in the Highveld. As you can see, Johannesburg only rising to a high of 25 degrees and 23 in Bethlehem. And KwaZulu-Natal is also very mild in the Midlands and along the coastal areas due to those cloudy skies and the wet weather that is forecast for the rest of the day. Overnight, we do expect cold conditions in Sutherland, otherwise warm throughout the country with a minimum of 19 degrees over Johannesburg. KwaZulu-Natal will also remain very warm overnight with a minimum of 20 degrees over eThekwini. Tomorrow expects another cloudy and cool day over the Gauteng province with an 80% probability of rainfall that may lead to flash flooding in some areas, especially towards the east end. As you can see, Springs reaching a high of 26 degrees. A slight drop in the temperatures as well for the Limpopo province with a maximum temperature of 30 degrees for Musina, and towards Polokwane, we're expecting a maximum of 26 degrees for tomorrow. And that is all from the weather desk.
Right, well, we're going to take you back to Nigeria on the sidelines of President Jacob Zuma and President Muhammadu Buhari's meeting in Abuja. President Zuma has just addressed the media at a briefing that's underway. His counterpart, Muhammadu Buhari, is set to address the media. Now we cross to that live.
South Africa have done their long fighting. They are enjoying relative security. We are now fighting terrorism, modern terrorism that has no borders. Coupled with that, we have economic challenges, which South Africa is acutely aware of. Besides, internationally, we like to demand through the international community, applying to their conscience that Africa deserved a place in the Security Council of the United Nations. We are more than 1 billion people in Africa. In spite of state of development, in terms of economy and security, we deserve to be recognized and invited to that body. We are grateful for South African recognition of our partnership in trying to promote the relevance of Africa in world politics and economics. We are grateful for this visit and agreement signed in 1999 and 2013. We are determined to make them much more relevant by meeting at the highest level at least once a year and going over what our respective council of ministers have been able to achieve. Through you, the press, we would like you to promote those positive aspects that bind us together, politically, economically, and security-wise. And on the personal basis, Nigeria has sympathized with South Africa with the casualties we have of 85 South Africans that died at the church incident in Lagos. And we want to extend Nigeria's sympathy to the families of the South Africans, those that lost their lives here. With this, I would like to close this, my remark on the briefing given by the President of South Africa to you all with great thanks and appreciation, and I assure him that new government in Nigeria will even go further into history and consolidate our relationship further. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellencies. Now we'll take the questions. 4. One from Frontier News, the second one from SABC TV, then Reuters will ask, and then the fourth one will come from SABC Radio. So can we have Horatius Egoa of Frontier News asking the first question?
Good afternoon, Your Excellencies. My question is directed to the two presidents. The first question I have is, Nigerians are worried that the money that was seized, or rather that was confiscated from Nigerians during the last regime for armed purchase is yet to be released. We don't know what the South African government and the Nigerian government are doing in respect of recovering the money. Then my second question is on the issue of xenophobia. Africa is calling for mutual understanding among nations in Africa. There is this call by a larger number of Africans urging the South African government to compensate those who were attacked during the xenophobic attack. I don't know what the position of the South African president is on this matter. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, with regard to the things that were either confiscated or went to South Africa unknown, etc., The two governments are working on those matters. The relevant structures are working on it. There are some that have been discovered and recovered, but there are some that the necessary departments are doing investigation. We would certainly appreciate if we succeed in recovering all other issues that, or all other things that would be in South Africa illegal, so that they would be returned back. On the second question of xenophobia, as you know, it's absolutely an unfortunate thing because all Africans are the same. Fact that colonialists drew borders and made us to think we are different. We are the same Africans. And that has been our view in South Africa in addressing the unfortunate incidents of xenophobia. And we believe we have dealt with these issues and we are talking about it all the time. And we need this kind of interaction among countries as we are interacting at this level with Nigeria. We would like our people in both countries and other countries to realize that we are the same. We have the same objectives, same interests. We have the same kind of destination as Africans. With regard to things that could have been destroyed during that time, I'm sure that is a matter that the relevant departments will be dealing with, particularly if people have reported what happened. We know that during the attacks, a number of articles were taken by people, as it always happens when there is a conflict, but we hope that people could identify and indicate. Then I'm sure the collaboration of how to solve those problems will certainly be found. Thank you.
Okay. Then SABC TV, please.
Good afternoon to you, Excellencies. My question is around the investments in both countries. We see that this visit aims to boost trade and investing in each other's countries. South Africa has got a number of companies, for example, here in Nigeria. I think one of them is MTN, MultiChoice, etc. There is an issue that I know it's still underway, and I know at some point, I think the president of Nigeria will have the final weight. The issue of the multi-billion rand fine on MTN. So how far are we with that issue? Did the presidents get the opportunity perhaps to discuss it? Because I think this is part of investing in each other's countries. And I'm sure if one perhaps feels they are slapped with a huge fine, they may feel they're being scared away. So how far did, if at all, that issue was raised? Was it discussed?
Yeah, I think this is my turn to speak now, Your Excellency. I thought they wouldn't remember to ask this question. But having asked about it, the MTN fine, which one of institutions, the national NCC, they call it, imposed on MTN. This is the first time I'm personally, as a president, making a public comment about it. The concern of the federal government was basically on the security, not the fine imposed on MTN. You know how the unregistered GSM are being used by terrorists. And between 2009 and today, at least 10,000 Nigerians were killed by Boko Haram. At least 10,000. That was why NCC asked, the MTN and Glo and the rest of them to register GSMs. Unfortunately, MTN was very, very slow and contributed to the casualty. That's why NCC looked at its regulation and imposed that fine on them. We left the security agencies and NCC and MTN to deal with the issue. Unfortunately for MTN, they went to court. Now, once you go to court, you virtually disarm the government, because the judiciary, if the federal government refuses to listen to the judiciary, it's going against its own constitution. Therefore, the government has to wait. I think MTN has seen that, so they have decided to withdraw the case and try to go back and negotiate with government agencies on how what they consider a very stiff charge or fine can be reduced and maybe be given time to pay gradually. That's for that one. The second question is on. It's the same question. I'm sure I have covered it all.
Thank you. Felix of Reuters, please.
Your Excellencies, my name is Felix Ona from Reuters. My question is about the visa issue. Both countries had one time agreed about free visas and all that, but there's still imbalance. You have more South African coming to Nigeria, the less Nigerian coming to South Africa. I don't know whether that issue came up in your discussion.
Well, yes. In a meeting, the broader meeting where we were all there, the Minister of Home Affairs from South Africa touched on that issue, indicating what has been done. For an example, the kind of relaxing of visas and the period given, particularly to business people, etc. Is a matter that has been with us for quite a while, but is a matter that is receiving attention from our ministers. Whatever else, if there are issues that still need to be looked at, I'm sure ministers are here, both counterparts, to look at those issues, to deal with them. Because if we say we need to increase the economic activities between the two countries, of course it goes with those kind of issues of visas, etc., which will be in keeping with the belief and the work that the AU itself is doing to soften the borders for us to have intertrade and indeed the flow of goods and people. So the matter will certainly be attending or receiving attention if there are issues beyond what the minister had raised today. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, SABC Radio.
Well, Your Excellencies, my name is Ntebo. I'm with the SABC Radio News. Mine goes to the two presidents. South Africa and Nigeria are the leading economies in the continent. But looking at the two-way trade between the two countries in the last 4 years, for instance, between 2011 and 2014, we've seen an increase in the two-way trade coming to around 20 billion rand, bringing it to 60.5 billion rand in 2014, a mere 60.5 billion rand. Is there any commitment on the part of South Africa and Nigeria to up our economic activities to the level that is worth our economic might, looking at 60.5 billion rand in the last 4 years as a two-way trade between the two countries?
Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency. Absolutely. I think the very visit that we are talking about and what we have said, that we want to grow the relationship, I think goes to the issue of indeed these two big economies in the continent, that in order to implement the inter-trade in the continent, these two countries should give leadership. And indeed, that is a commitment we have as two countries to increase our economic activities. We discuss a lot of issues related to very specific issues in all areas of economy, And that is our intention, to grow the economy much faster. Part of the reason we have agreed to elevate the level of binational commission is precisely to monitor on a yearly basis how the economy is growing between the two countries. That is our commitment.
If I may add, I hope you will recall, even before the elections, our party here, the APC, we have realized the trouble we are in. And we think we articulated 3 fundamental issues: security, economy, and corruption. And here we identified the role we can improve rapidly our relationship with South Africa in terms of economy, because we identified agriculture and solid minerals to come to fore quickly so that we can get the able-bodied unemployed employed. And South Africa here is far ahead of us in both agriculture and solid minerals. So in diversifying the economy, I think there is a great room for improvement, and it is going to be exploited. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you, gentlemen of the press.
Thank you.